we hear a lot about tax giveaways and tax credits. What we need to realize is the Earned Income Tax Credit is for working Iowa families. And what it does is not give them a hand out, but a hand up. What we have done with the Coalition for a Better Iowa is put together a booklet, because so many times we don't realize the personal impact that this can have on people. You know, someone might get $1,500 or $1,000 or $2,000, and to some politicians and maybe to the governor, that's a nice campaign contribution. To these Iowa families, it can mean the difference between paying their rent and buying groceries. Today we have 3 speakers. We have Michelle Bartusek, who coordinates the statewide VITA program, or VITA program, which is income tax preparation for low-income Iowans. We have Melody Webb, who is a working person who lives in Ankeny, and her family received the Earned Income Tax Credit earlier in their lives. And then we have State Senator Joe Bolkcom, who is a champion for this issue. So rather than me stand up here and talk to you, I'm going to get right to the speakers, and we'll start with Michelle Bartusek.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Bartusek, and I am the Program Director for the Iowa Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, otherwise known as VITA. I coordinate a statewide coalition of 24 different nonprofit organizations that provide for low-income taxpayers. This year, our coalition served over 11,000 taxpayers in over 50 counties with 80 sites. The coalition is made up of United Ways, community action agencies, ISU Extension, community foundations, churches, Johnson County Social Services, Iowa Legal Aid, retired senior volunteer programs, and a community corrections improvement organization, and some very generous individuals. These organizations recruited and trained over 700 volunteers that make this successful. The purpose of the free tax preparation site is to assist low-income taxpayers and persons with disabilities to save on the cost of tax preparation, to assure they get the full refund that they are entitled to, especially the Earned Income Tax Credit and the child tax credits, and also to avoid the temptation of the high interest tax refund loans. While this year's figures are not yet tallied, last year the coalition brought back to Iowa over $16 million in state refunds. On behalf of the members of the coalition and volunteers, I urge that the state increase Iowa's EITC. We join with the United Ways, the Human Needs Coalition, Iowa Community Action Agencies, and all of whom primarily serve Iowa's low-income working families. We see how badly needed this funding program is for our families. Not only is EITC an income support needed for groceries, school clothes, and fuel, but it makes tax season the one time each year that these families get a lump sum where they can save, they can catch up, or simply pay off debt. At ISCD Ventures, we refer to the EITC as an on-ramp to savings, which is an asset that can make all the difference when an unexpected expense pops up, like an accident or a health expense or job loss. Surely, if there's going to be tax relief provided this year, then the working families eligible for EITC and child tax credits are among the most deserving. I urge the state not to delay for another year and to approve the increase for the EITC. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to hear from Melody Webb.
Hi, my name is Melody Webb. I'm a resident of Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm here just to share a little bit about my personal experience of being a family that once received the Earned Income Tax Credit, and also to talk to you about a standpoint of my faith. I'm here also as a member of the United Methodist Church, and as United Methodists, we strongly believe that we should be supporting the poor and alleviating poverty and supporting issues like this Earned Income Tax Credit that seek to do that. My experience as a young mom with 2 kids who were less than a year apart was taking my first full-time teaching job while my husband was still finishing his graduate studies. At that time, my husband had a small assistantship, and my teaching salary together, we were still living below the poverty line. We were paying for child care expenses for the first time, which a large portion of my paycheck went to cover, which left us with very little just to cover basic needs. As my children finished their first year in daycare, they began having a lot of chronic respiratory infections. Many of you will understand that. And we were starting to face a lot of medical bills that were piling up, prescriptions that we couldn't necessarily pay for out of pocket sometimes, and we would have to settle for a less effective antibiotic, for example. And so after that first year, they both needed surgical procedures to help them get over these infections, and we were really struggling with how we were going to manage that. We really did not have any savings. We didn't have any credit cards. We were literally living paycheck to paycheck and just didn't see where the money was going to come from. And when we filed our taxes that year and realized we qualified for the Earned Income Tax Credit, we thought we had an answer to prayers. We finally had a little bit of money that we could start a savings account with and that we could pull from to pay for those prescriptions we couldn't cover and to cover those surgical procedures that our children needed in order to get better. It gave us peace of mind so that we could sleep at night knowing that we could take care of children as we were struggling to work and better ourselves to launch our careers. And so for us, for 2 years, it made a huge difference in our lives. And so I know personally what a difference this can make in the lives of working families, families who worry about how they're going to take care of their children, how they're going to cover those medical bills or give them those things that they really need that otherwise they just couldn't cover. So I really hope that this is something the governor will take a more thoughtful approach to passing this time, because I really believe that it's needed. Thank you.
As you've heard from Melody, we can put a face to the people who are able to survive thanks to the Earned Income Tax Credit. And as you look through this booklet, which we can all give you all a copy of, there are many stories from many Iowans, and we just need to realize that this is something that's important to real Iowa people. And to wrap us up, we're going to have Senator Joe Bolkcom.
I'd like to thank Sue and the Coalition for Better Iowa for organizing our gathering this morning, and especially thank Michelle from ISED and the work they do across Iowa to make sure that Iowans who qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit actually get that credit. It means tens of millions of dollars to Iowa's economy when those filers make that filing, and those dollars are available not only to those families but to the businesses that they frequent. Melody, thank you for bringing your story here today. I would direct people's attention to the booklet. Melody's story is really a story that could be told by thousands of Iowa families who struggle to make ends meet and find that being able to apply for and receive their Earned Income Tax Credit is a substantial boost to their households and the support of their children. When it comes to stalemate over taxes, Governor Branstad has no one to blame but himself and his 2 earlier vetoes of an increase in this working family tax cut. Compared to other tax cuts proposals, this legislation cuts taxes for Iowa taxpayers that pay the highest percentage of their incomes in state and local taxes. It helps more than 210,000 working families that are the home to almost 40% of all our kids. 40% of all our kids, and these would be households that make $45,000 or less. These are households that really have to do amazing budgeting and amazing management of their financial resources to be successful. Can we reach a deal on taxes? I'm certain we can, and I'm also certain that any deal must include a tax cut for Iowa working families by substantially making an increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit. We have a lot of work to do in the closing weeks here. There's a lot of tax policy still before us, and it's pretty clear that any final deals that come down on taxes must include an increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit.